They say procrastination is just laziness. That's a lie. Procrastination is fear, disguised as comfort. It's hesitation poisoning your potential. It's your own mind sabotaging you, whispering that you have time, that tomorrow will be better. But here's the truth. Tomorrow is the graveyard of today's opportunities. Marcus Aurelius, the last great emperor of Rome, never had the luxury of later. He ruled an empire under constant threat, woke up before dawn, endured war, loss, and betrayal. Yet still he wrote, "You could leave life right now." Let that determine what you do and say and think. He understood what we ignore. Every second wasted is a second gone forever. But you sit there, staring at the blank page, the untouched project, the unread book, feeling that creeping paralysis. You think it's just a bad habit. No, it's deeper than that. It's emotional, warfare. Science proves it. Your brain doesn't procrastinate because you're lazy. It does it to protect you from discomfort, from effort, from the slightest possibility of failure. The limbic system, the primal part of your mind, wants pleasure now. The prefrontal cortex, the rational part, wants results later. And in that battle, the limbic system usually wins. Unless you take back control. That's where Stoicism comes in. The ancient philosophy of warriors, emperors, and survivors. The ultimate antidote to hesitation. Epictetus, born a slave, forged his mind into an unbreakable fortress. He didn't just accept hardship. He embraced it. He said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Because improvement is ugly. It's raw. It's uncomfortable. And that's exactly why you avoid it." You say, you want success, discipline, mastery. But when the moment comes to act, you flinch, you hesitate, you scroll, you wait. You tell yourself you'll start later. And that hesitation, that's the moment you lose. But the Stoics had a weapon against this weakness: action before emotion. They didn't wait for motivation. They didn't care about feelings. They acted regardless. Seneca warned, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." The pain of starting is nothing compared to the pain of regret. So what do? You move, right now, not in an hour, not tomorrow. The second you hesitate, you count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stand up, begin. No matter how small the first step is, you take it. Because the mind follows the body, and action breeds momentum. Every moment of delay is another victory for procrastination. Another moment stolen from your life. Another opportunity buried before it even had a chance. And what would Marcus Aurelius say if he saw you now, wasting time? He'd say nothing. He'd simply turn away, disappointed. Because he knew what you refuse to admit. Your time is not infinite. It's running out. And the only thing left to ask is, will you waste another second? Or will you finally act? You're still here. That means one of two things. Either you're ready to break free, or you're still searching for an excuse. But excuses are just elegant lies wrapped in comfort, designed to keep you weak. And the Stoics had no patience for weakness. Seneca called it a slow suicide. He warned that people waste time as if they have an unlimited supply, never realizing how much has already slipped away. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. And what is procrastination, if not the most insidious form of wasted life? Think about it. The task in front of you, the book unwritten, the body untrained, the skill unmastered, is not the real enemy. The true adversary is within. It is your comfort, your hesitation, your addiction to postponement. You already know what must be done, but knowing is meaningless without action. Epictetus, who was born in chains yet lived with more freedom than kings, had a brutal truth for men like you. Men who wait, who hesitate, who search for the perfect moment. If you wish to be better, begin at once. Not when you feel like it, not when conditions are perfect. Now. This very second. Because here's what the procrastinator refuses to see. Hesitation is a habit. The longer you wait, the more you train yourself to delay. And just like a muscle, procrastination strengthens every time you surrender to it. Each postponed action, each moment wasted, is another weight added to the chains that keep you trapped. But the good news? The opposite is also true. Momentum is built in the same way. The first step, no matter how small, weakens the grip of hesitation. The second step shatters it. The third makes action inevitable. But only if you move before your mind tricks you into stopping. Marcus Aurelius knew this battle well. He fought it every morning. When the warm comfort of his bed tempted him to stay, he reminded himself of duty. At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have work to do as a human being. Not work for pleasure, not for fleeting motivation, but because action is what defines us. Because discipline is the highest form of self-respect. So here's the final test. The last barrier between you and the person you claim you want to become. Will you act? Will you finally rise and do what must be done? Or will you sit there, nodding, agreeing, feeling inspired, and then nothing? Because if you walk away from this unchanged, if you let this be just another moment of fleeting motivation, then you've already lost. You've already surrendered to the force that has stolen years from you. But if you stand up now, right now, you will have won. Maybe not the war, not yet, but the first battle. And that's all it takes, because once you move, once you break the cycle, you will realize the truth that the Stoics lived by. Nothing is as hard as your mind makes it seem. And the only thing standing between you and your destiny is the decision to begin. You've come this far. That means something inside you is stirring. A battle is raging within. A war between the person you are and the person you are meant to become. And the outcome? That depends on what you do next. Not what you think. Not what you plan. What you do. Hesitation is the silent killer of ambition. It doesn't strike loudly, doesn't announce itself with alarms. It seeps in like a slow-moving poison, disguised as harmless delay. One moment you tell yourself, not now, and before you know it, days have bled into years. And still, you remain in the same place, trapped in the same cycle. Marcus Aurelius had no tolerance for this kind of self-deception. He warned against waiting for permission, against stalling in the face of action. Do not act as if you have 1,000 years to live. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good. And yet, here you are, acting as if time is infinite, but it's not. Every second wasted is a second burned. A second you will never get back. A second closer to the end. And still, you wait. Why? What exactly are you waiting for? A perfect moment? A flash of divine inspiration? Some magical force to push you forward? Let me tell you the truth. The moment will never come. You either move now, or you never will. Seneca understood this flaw in human nature. He saw men crippled by inaction, paralyzed by their own excuses. While we are postponing, life speeds by. And that is the brutal reality. You don't have time to waste. The life you dream of is not waiting for you. It is passing you by, right now, slipping through your fingers while you sit there, thinking instead of doing. And what will be your excuse this time? That you're tired? That you don't feel ready? That you need more time? Lies. Comfortable. Familiar lies. The Stoics had no patience for comfort. Comfort is the enemy of progress. It lulls you into a state of passivity, convincing you that standing still is harmless. But stagnation is not harmless. It is decay. It is death in slow motion. Epictetus, who endured suffering beyond what most men could bear, refused to be a victim of circumstance. He said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Not dream, not wish, do." So here's your final moment of decision. You can walk away from this unchanged. Let the fire inside you die. Return to the cycle of delay. Or you can act right now, before your mind has a chance to stop you. Stand up, move, do the thing you've been avoiding. Because the difference between success and failure, between a wasted life and a fulfilled one, is not talent, not luck, not intelligence. It is the ability to act before the mind has time to kill the impulse, before comfort has a chance to pull you back. This is it, your moment. The question is, will you take it? You want change. You crave discipline. You fantasize about mastery. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Wanting is worthless. Craving means nothing. Without action, all your ambitions are nothing more than empty echoes, fading into the abyss of lost potential. Marcus Aurelius understood this better than anyone. He did not simply desire greatness. He embodied it. He ruled. He fought. He endured. And through it all, he reminded himself of one thing. Thoughts without action are wind. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Yet, here you are, still debating, still questioning, still waiting. How much longer? How many more hours, days, months will you surrender to hesitation? How many dreams will you let rot in the graveyard of your own inaction? Because that's where they're going. The opportunities you ignore, the skills you refuse to sharpen, the goals you promise yourself you'll chase one day. They are all dying, slowly, quietly, fading into nothing. And the only person responsible? You. Seneca didn't sugarcoat it. It is not that we have a short life, but that we waste a lot of it. Read that again. Let it sink in. Your life is not slipping away because time is unfair. It's slipping away because you let it, because you trade discipline for comfort, because you choose distractions over purpose, because you betray yourself over and over again, hoping that somehow things will change on their own. They won't. Change is violent. It is brutal. It requires you to kill the version of yourself that clings to excuses. It demands that you burn down the habits, the doubts, the weakness that has kept you shackled for years. Epictetus knew the cost of transformation. He was born a slave, powerless, broken. But he refused to remain that way. He hardened his mind, sharpened his will, and became one of the greatest philosophers of all time. And his message to those who hesitate: how long will you wait before you demand the best for yourself? How long will you wait? How much more of your own potential will you abandon? How many more times will you look in the mirror, knowing you could be more, yet doing nothing to become it? Because here's the brutal reality. You don't need another reminder. You don't need more time. You don't need another push. Everything you need, you already have. The only thing missing is your decision. You either move or you don't. You either act or you let this moment die like all the others. No more waiting, no more overthinking, no more excuses. The world doesn't care about what you could have. Big. It will not mourn your wasted potential. The only thing that matters is whether you will rise or whether you will remain exactly as you are. This is the moment. Not tomorrow, not later. Now. Stand up. Move forward. or be forgotten. This is your reckoning. No more theories. No more waiting. No more passive consumption of motivation, hoping that one day something will click, that somehow you'll just become the person you've always envisioned. That's not how it works. That's not how it has ever worked. Marcus Aurelius didn't wish for discipline. He practiced it. He didn't hope for resilience. He built it. And he did it not because it was easy, not because he felt inspired, but because he understood one truth that separates those who rise from those who remain shackled by their own weakness. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That strength is within you, but you refuse to use it. You wait for some invisible force to grant you permission to act. You let your mind trick you into believing that later is just as good as now. But that's a lie. It's always been a lie. The only thing that determines whether you achieve or decay is your ability to move before hesitation sinks its claws into you. Seneca knew this flaw in human nature. He saw how men squandered their days, how they mistook mere existence for living. He warned, while we wait for life, life passes. And that's exactly what's happening to you. You wait, you plan, you think, and all the while, time slips through your fingers like sand, irretrievable, unmerciful. And what will you say when it's too late? When you look back and see all the moments you surrendered to doubt, will you tell yourself that you just weren't ready? That the timing wasn't right? That's what the weak do. That's what the dead whisper in regret. But you have a choice. Right now, to break the cycle, to refuse to let another moment be stolen by the disease of delay. Epictetus had nothing, no wealth, no status, no freedom, and yet he owned his mind. He turned suffering into power, chains into wisdom. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. He didn't say wish, dream, hope. He said do, because doing is the only thing that matters. So, do it. Not tomorrow, not after one more video, one more distraction, one more indulgence in the comfortable fantasy that you still have time. You don't. Every second you hesitate, another part of you dies. And soon, there will be nothing left but a ghost of the person you could have been. This is the threshold, the final test. You stand at the edge of two paths, one leading to mastery, the other to irrelevance. Which will you choose? The world will not wait for your decision. It will move on. Time will continue its merciless march forward. And if you do not act now, you will become just another name, forgotten, buried beneath the weight of your own inaction. This is your moment. Stand up. Move. Now.